Yeah, we live. All right. Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory belong to
Huh?
Yahweh, Hashem,
Peace, God,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Hashem, the
Hashem,
Dash.
Barakadas.
All right.
Thank
Double
God
honors
I
unto
have
them.
one.
Double, double honor unto the elders and to the apostles of faith and stone. And salutations to the faithful elect. All right. The men that have put peace word out and truth and in sincerity. All right. This is GMS Guyana once again coming at you with another lesson. All right. And again, as the times will have us, all right, we'll be touching on as well prophecies, all right, because everything that's happening in the earth right now, is clear signs, all right, wonders of what the time that we in, all right. So, matter of fact, if I could start with the 3 second, second Ezra, all right, uh, in this second Ezra, yeah, it's second Ezra chapter 9, and I will read from verse 1. He answered me then and said, look thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the same half, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the eyes will begin to visit the world that he made. All right. So, hey, he are commanded to pay attention to watch, you know, to keep our mind on what's happening in throughout the four corners of the globe. All right. See what these prophecies are saying. Looking into um, the MOTV becoming more mandatory, looking at the wars and the different rumors of wars, looking at the different earthquakes. All right, these are all signs that the scriptures talk about. All right, it says, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High speak of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So hey, all these things are written aforetime, all right, predestinated to happen, all right. And there's the assurance that we have, that these things that we speak of, week in and week out, all right, are going to happen, because it's not our words, it's the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the prophecies that we bring out. So we just declaring it, but it's the most side that's driving Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that's driving these prophecies to come to pass. You know, it says, verse 5, this is the point. For like as all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the time also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. So the ending of this time, this age, all right, or this eon, you know, is declared by what? The signs and effects, you know, the 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 prophets being out on the highways and byways, that's a sign. All right. The earthquakes, that's a sign. All right. The MOTV, being the talk of the tongue, all right, that's also a sign. You see? So hey, we in that time right now where everything is what basically ramping up. All right. So um what's happening right now, you know, in Venezuela is that they are pushing to be under the dollar. All right. Where the dollar will become their um primary currency. All right. No longer using the bolivar, all right, but sticking strictly to the dollar. And there's what reminiscent of First Maccabees. You see, so let me just read some in the article, all right, and then we're gonna get precepts, as the most I will. All right, so this is the article from Fortune, um, August 22nd. It says Venezuela abandoning the bolivar and adopting the US dollar would be the biggest currency switch since the advent of the euro. And he says, all right, it says Steve Ang earned the moniker Money Doctor after advising governments around the globe on how to use currency and to get inflation under control. The professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University is now helping Venezuela and has been named as special advisor to a leading member of country's National Assembly. It says Ang told Fortune's Sean Tully that a solution for Venezuela's 400% inflation, all right, hey, and this is what we call hyperinflation, and this is the same position that you know that I see you on the live quite good. Yeah, this is the same position that Guyana is also heading into, hyperinflation.
Hey,
All right.
Slakia, Fartam, if you're not speaking, you're on mute. We're getting a bad feedback.
Mhm. Yep, yep, yep. You know, so right now Venezuela is under 400% inflation. It means that the value of one Venezuelan bolivar, all right, is 400% times less than what it should be, all right, or compared to the standard, you know. So that's why you see these Venezuelans, all right, what they doing, they touching different ports, trying to escape, that economic depression, they all over the globe, whether it be Trinidad, whether it be here in Guyana, thousands of them, in the US, so on and so forth. All right. It says for Venezuela's 400% inflation is full adaptation of US dollar, meaning bolivars and the central bank would be abandoned. All right. And guess what they've been doing though? They've been, you know, um, um, I see, abandoning the Venezuelan currency, in the streets. All right. You would see clips, a video of, literal Bolivar currency in the streets, just wasting, just blowing by. And nobody, would care to pick it up because today it has no value. All right. The paper money has no value. And this is to show, all right, um progress, as time progress, you know, it's going to be an easy thing, you know, for your economic hitmen, all right, and these different professors and whatnot, you know, to collapse currency, all right, the paper dollar, all right, and say, look, let's move towards a digital and cashless society. This is proof that hey, that's something that's possible. And for a matter of fact, that's something that's coming. All right. It says, and the central bank would abandon. The idea is to remove the risk of a central bank printing money to help the government pay its bills, stoking higher prices. All right. It says, um, taming inflation is the key to restoring stability in Venezuela, and all other progress flows from it. And explain. All right. So right now, you know, Venezuela, the entire economy is what unstable. You know, today the price of a of a of a watermelon could be $1, and tomorrow it could be 1,000. Why? Because everything is out of whack. All right. Now you're gonna get what do you call price bulging. You know, hey, and we seeing it today in Guyana. We experiencing it today in Guyana. When you go in the market, things that a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, was $200 or $300 a pound. All right, it's now what, 5 and 6. You know, 5 and 6 hundred dollars a pound. All right, and it can only get worse. It can only get worse for us here. You know, It says he should know Salakia. Yeah, it says uh Ang explains stability isn't everything, but without stability, which means stable prices, you have nothing. And there's no better case study that's true that showing that's true than Venezuela. You should know the money doctor persuaded Montenegro in 1999 to dump the Yugoslav dinar for the Dutch mark. He also oversaw Ecuador's switch from the sucre to the US dollar in 2000, making the forced dollarization in Latin America since Panama a century earlier. All right. So, hey, this man been going around the globe. All right, Professor Ank, advising different nations to what to adopt the dollar as the main currency. You know. So I want to remind you of when the scripture saying actually let me get it. All right. There's a First Maccabees. All right. Yeah, First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse part 1, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right. And this is what you're seeing today, where America, having that influence over the entire globe, is saying what? Let everybody become like America. Use the dollar. Use dress like us, eat like us, think like us, behave like us. Educate your children as we do. All right. And what they did recently in Venezuela, they kidnapped, Nicolas Maduro, installed a puppet government. All right. So right there and then, Venezuela is now a proxy, all right, of America, you know, and now they're going to what adopt the dollar fully, So at any time, if America decide that look, uh, um, we no longer can supply the Venezuelans with the U.S. dollar, all right, automatically Venezuela is what bankrupt, all right, automatically Venezuela is what is fucked. You see, so look, we seeing what these things are playing out. Verse 42, it says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king. All right. It says, well, all the heathens agreed to the commandment of the king. These heathens are quick to collude with Esau, Edom, with America today. All right. It says, many also of the Israelites consorted to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profane the Sabbath. You know, so same way you got Ecuador, all right. Um, yeah, you got Ecuador, you got Venezuela now about to adopt the dollar fully. All right, you got the entire earth right now, dancing to the song of America. You see, and it's just that new world order, all right, or the one world order coming back again. You see, it says,
I forgot to add
yeah,
something clear there, right?
yeah, yep,
Because
right.
look at all the countries that got conflicts with America, and you can see it's all the countries that them and got a hold on, right? Look what it do to
Mm-hmm.
to Syria. Look what it do to Libya, to Afghanistan. Then they move to what
Cuba,
to Venezuela. Right now they put in tremendous pressure on Cuba. They put in tremendous pressure on Colombia, um,
Colombia, yep,
Colombia and Haiti too. You
yep,
know,
yep,
so these places that they didn't have control over, they make a problem so that they could go in, so that they could do just what they're doing to Venezuela, because if Venezuela move its currency from from the bolivar to the US dollars, and this what ISA want, because a week ago it had a they was talking about releasing Venezuelan gold from the bank in England, but they was not releasing it to Venezuela, they're releasing it to America. So America basically right now controlling Venezuela, you know? And that's what the scripture says. This man keep it not at home. He in everybody affairs.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, and guess what? He ultimately is the one that will causing the chaos, and then coming in and say, "Look, let's here's the solution." You know, because when you go back in the history, in the early 1900s, all right, what they actually sending economic hitmen, to crash the whole economy in Venezuela. Their whole assignment was what to make that the nation fall. You see, so jumping back to the article, it says then in 2009, Ank became an informal advisor to the Prime Minister of Zimbabwe, which dollarized and reined in inflation. But the new government ditched the dollar in 2013 and hyperinflation returned. So again, hey, if you're not, on board with the with America, all right, and what their agenda is, hey, you're gonna suffer. All right, you will suffer. Because the minute that Zimbabwe ditched the dollar, what happened to them? They got hyperinflation today. You buying something in Zimbabwe, all right, in Kenya, all right. You buying a little phone, you gotta walk around with a whole duffel bag of cash, just to purchase it. All right. And one of the things with the hyperinflation, it gonna cause this cashless society to reign in even faster. Why? Because they're not going to print the amount of money to keep up with the inflation. They can say, look, this is too much for us to continue to print. They can give you a whole science and a whole spiel behind it and say, look, the solution is digital currency where it's ones and zeros on the back end, and you could buy wherever you want without walking around with a boatload of cash. You know, all right.
And the reminds me of Revelation, the 17th chapter, because it
Mhm.
said, well, he caused all the kings of the earth to drink of the wine of his fornication, bringing them more, bringing them into the system, into the beast system, where
Mhm.
he have full control. If you control a person money
Wallet. Yep.
and how food go in and out, guess what? Is you controlling the person. So
Mhm.
so so the scripture says, well, they covet fields and how the
I
precept go
got you.
about it.
I got it. I got it. My two.
Yeah, you could read it.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Select, yeah. So Obadiah. Yeah, Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that device iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And
And
they
can
covet.
and
Mhm, mhm.
the going back to where somebody economic hitman, they just sit down and study what to do to bring down an entire country, and then they install people in the country, whether they come as diplomats or as a or through the Red Cross or wherever, and they go into the country and they break it down from within. And when they done break it down, they will set up a puppet leader and covet the whole place.
Yep, yep. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. You know? So hey, they've been oppressing, Jakes, which Jakes is their ultimate target. All right. They're not business about Elam and Moab, because at the end of the day, Elam and Moab, they know their place. Their main target is who? Jake. All right. That's why you see them, messing around. These are Caribbean islands. All right. Certain parts of West Africa. All right. And Latin and South America. Those are the people that they ultimately after, which are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, all right, which make up the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, it says, jumping back to the article, it says Ankh is on his second attempt in Venezuela after his plan for a currency board in the mid 1990s failed to win a majority in the National Assembly. This time, he see 50 to 80% odds that dollarization will be approved. Why? Because hey, they already got a puppet administration installed. So hey, they just doing it for formality. Venezuela will dollarize.
Yep.
That's what they do. All right.
Mhm.
When you when you speak to the Venezuelans over here in Guyana, they don't understand our currency. The only thing they understand is the dollar. You know,
Yep.
they
Yep.
come
Yep.
into you
Yep.
and say, uh, uh, um, those, you know, those dollar, whatever. I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but whatever. The only thing that they understand is this thing is 50,000 Guyana dollars. All right, which is um, which is what you know, 250 US. This all they understand. You see?
I can watch it to it. It says you're going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try this for the second time. This
Mm-hmm.
this man um consistent in plans because
Yep.
what the Lord working with you to
Yep.
fulfill these things. Just like how the scripture talk about Pharaoh. The reason why
Yep.
Pharaoh was lifted up is the same way for Esau. He prosper in this. A lot of people, a lot of people die from then till now. But this devil still remain living for go back for try for,
Yeah.
bring them in, bring them into the system.
Yeah. 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 Hmm. It says, yeah, it says, despite ambitious plans, the US dollar is already an integral part of Venezuelan economy due to the collapsing bolivar, which has tanked 78% against the greenback over the past year alone. You know, it says most consumers buy virtually everything with dollars. All right. So today, almost everything, every business, every transaction done in Venezuela is already what? With the dollar, you know? So, hey, they gonna just pass. All right. Which go back to work. Everybody gonna become what? One people, you know? Because when America switch to the digital currency, all right, guess what? By
Yep, yep,
extension, every nation that use the dollar, they automatically know what on the digital currency, the CBDCs. All right.
yep. Because even to Guyana too depend
Mhm.
on the US dollar because
Yep.
uh as it look like you got the shortage of US dollars, things will start getting tight.
Yep. Hmm.
So there's like the world currency, but at the same time, the value of the US dollar keep dropping every day. How we know that? Because look at gold and silver.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. Yep. All right. Now, if my memory serves me right, all right, um, the U.S. is in $40 trillion of debt. All right, over $40 trillion in debt. You know, so how they gonna wipe this slate clean? You know, how they gonna reset their economy?
yep.
It's by what? Switching over to that to the digital currency. You see?
They got enough people for print the amount of money, 40 trillion dollars in debt,
Yep.
and
Yep.
counting. And when
Mm-hmm.
these other countries start using the US dollar, it can have to, they can have to print more, and the value can go down more.
Yep.
But it's all it's all it's all part of the it's all part of the plan to bring in the new world order. Because if you get everybody for use if you get most countries for use for depend on the US dollar, when they switch to the digital system, these countries can now got a choice. Because they can say, well, hey, if we doing business with only this. This is why the scripture says in Revelation chapter 4 that this man was loose for a little season and he deceived them that dwell upon the earth. One, the way that he deceive people on the earth is through the same monetary system, through the payment system. Because he just take your gold and your silver and give you a paper.
Yep.
And and just like you mentioned about the $40 trillion, when you watch it here,
That's a limit
this
step.
man just print their money, say, yeah, they so debt. Because they find money easy to print. They find money easy to print and stuff like that. And they could put more people in debt and then kind of thing like that. These are the countries over there in debt. We're borrowing money from them because these are the countries don't want to borrow money from no other place really. China just borrow money, but China, but majority when what's this? Everybody do borrow money from America because Guyana, when they going to do the budget, is money from America they is borrow, Trinidad the same thing. And when none is debts they're being in.
Yep. 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 Cool. Excellent. Yeah, it says, um, in fact, almost everyone not working for the government or receiving aid and pensions. So that's it. Yeah. From now. Yeah, it says, in fact, almost everyone not working for the government or receiving aid and pensions from the government uses dollars, and said this spontaneous dollarization raises the chance for official currency switch. All right. But the prospect of losing the central bank, which acts as a lender of last resort and essentially handing over monetary policy to the Federal Reserve, are still daunting obstacles. All right. But you know, yeah. So let me just jump down and hit a couple more, key points, and then we're gonna, get some precepts, right? It says, mhm, yeah, it says, Argentina must also continue defending the peso, which is pegged to the dollar. Regional elections last year that crushed Meli's party sent the peso into blah 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 blah. No, this is the point. It says, um, then there is the 250 billion in Venezuelan debt, which is equivalent to 150% of GDP, and also increase the production would provide the dollars needed to pay the principal and interest. So right now, all right, there's 250 billion dollars, all right, in debt that Venezuela owes. So hey, they're gonna say, using the dollar, we could take off a billion, a little 2%.
Oh, that's what I say. It's everything. What area gets up and you start to spread. But we need to live in the system, so you don't have to worry about don't have who gets any anymore. You start fresh stuff like that. And then we got a lot of adventures, they're gonna rejoice and they will be happy work and stuff like that, but they know if it can work, they stuff from there, yeah, it's fine. It,
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is Revelation chapter 17, and read from verse 1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. All right. Um, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore which sitteth upon many waters. All right. And the great whore is referring to who? America. All right. She sitteth upon many waters. Waters referring to what? The these are the nations. All right. Um, these are the nations, you know, and she sitteth upon them, referring to what the influence or the power that she have over them. When America say jump, these nations say, oh hi. You know, now they're using a currency fully. All right. They think like her, they walk like her. All right. Even in our school system here in Guyana, hey, we learning, shit that have absolutely nothing to do with Guyana. And they call it for history.
right.
You know?
You don't we don't learn nothing about our stuff and all,
Yep, yep, yep. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of our fornication. So a lot of these nations, all right, they get rich by America. They also sin and go off by what? The policies and doctrine of America. You know, this whole alphabet movement, all right, who's the one of the main driver of it? America. All these homosexuals and gays that you seen all over. America is the one that what? Pushing the heavy, So these nations and these kings of what? Committed fornication with her. So witchcraft, your policies, all right, your doctrine, your school system, everything. You know, it says, so he carried me away into the spirit, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked in gold and precious stone. All right. And that scarlet colored beast is referring to what? This system. This beast system, where every single thing that you want to do, you need what? A permission slip. You want to drive on the road, you need, a license to say, hey, you can drive. You want to leave the country, you need permission from, the system to say, look, you can move. All right. The education and everything else that comes with it. You know, it says, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having a golden cup full of abomination and filthiness of our fornication. And that's what America is about. Filthiness. She looks shine or clean on the outside. That purple and that gold, which is what colors of royalty, all right, and riches and riches. But what she's about, her agenda is that of a whore, of fornication, of abomination, you know. Everything that this system is about and that America is about is what against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you know. So this whole push for more and more countries, to adopt the dollar, all right, to adopt the digital currency. For example, I was reading earlier where 80 right now is pushing to roll out the digital ID, countrywide in Haiti. You know, same thing with Barbados. That already exists. In Guyana, it exists. Trinidad is up and coming. All right. Nigeria, you know, India, Pakistan. All right. In China, they setting the trend. All right. So this is all a part of the agenda, you know.
Yep.
So when it comes time,
Concerning Haiti rolling out their digital ID, um, you see they giving them loan to do it.
yeah, yep.
So so
Japan,
so
yeah,
why why don't give them loan to help the millions of people that living in poverty,
publicly, yep.
that 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 baking mud cakes for eat. But what?
Mm-hmm.
They give them the loan for push digital ID because it's a part of the system. There's the agenda, you know?
Yep. Yeah, you said it yourself. Yeah. Why is it up on top? Yeah. So that's at the 509. Yeah. So, yeah, this is Sirach chapter 12 and verse 9. It says, um, in the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in the adversity, even a friend will depart. Let me show you in adversity, in prosperity, Isa don't want to rise up. Isa don't want us to get better. You just want to see us get worse and worse. Just like you mentioned about the funding them going to work to look after what a digital ID. But the poverty, they won't do that. Because it's setting a system to what destroy Jake to to microchip everything in your body, but now stop in the time. Remember? Verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as an iron rusted, so is wickedness. And never sure so it's that wickedness. That's why the Lord scripture say don't trust in stuff. Because what? When you read in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 16, it says what enemy. The scripture that I mentioned is our enemy. And today people try to still trust Esau and trying to work belongs to Esau and after Esau what shall we am doing. But then the Esau don't do nothing for you, for benefit you. Everything what Esau doing is for benefit you. How you could destroy James. Stitch up yourself. Psalms 55 and 21. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war, all right, Yeah, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they drawn swords. You know? So hey, never trust this man because today he can come to you with those sweet words, all right? The butter, the comfort, the benefits that the dollar gonna do for you. But all time he's setting you up to mark you for life. All right, to make you a slave, permanent slave, you know?
That would be what you wanted to make example. Back in the early, you see a lot of Americans that be in the country, open this church or church. And church, going big and stuff like that, going for James and little James and big James and things in church and stuff like that. But when done the pastor, start to preach about belief, now you're sick and kind of thing like that. You want to say why people such a thing and stuff like that. So the pastor and say, hey, you have to trust me in the Bible. They don't know the pastor will go up. Will go up big time. They don't know scripture. When done what these men was following for the church, they're not going there. And what the church at the crumble, that's what is going on because what? They have no funds really for one thing. So Esau is just looking to what? To destroy the people in all different ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him.
And let me show you, even said humble himself. That Esau don't humble himself. Esau just going to show you a nice face like we humble. What you doing humble? Because and the scripture show you this man only started fire blood. And your man only started fire blood, how come a man you can't humble himself?
You know, yeah. It says, um, yeah, and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast white a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his wrath had not been altogether wiped away.
And I'm sure you will know it Esau wickedness is not done. Esau what? The agenda to what? Microchip what? Everything with this. Everything with this. That is scripture say what? Elect might be deceived.
If possible.
Yeah, everything is so possible. And I'm sure you. All this man power, all this man will use its power and kind of thing like that. It's microchip and stuff like that. Just like when we see like how a man he had microchip in his head and doing different things with computer. You don't have to actually afford a car. I said it's not like that. The car is not with a brain chip. The car is fully computerized and they have every access.
Yep, yep, yep. Mhm. Yeah. It says, I think this is it. Yeah, all right. Verse 12, it says, set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in the place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat.
And don't be sure it's just overthrow the Jake's eyes. All the communities are just looking for do Jake's evil. Yep. Make sure we don't solve your how about shing outside. Don't this man want to try do. We don't solve our true power. Will let us know we are ready. Don't let us feel good and that kind of thing like that. But just depend upon him or right through. But every single thing. Because what the scripture say about sitting on the seat of the hour. Because what Jake's going to aim for everything, medication, every single thing. Help in all different ways. Because what? when Venezuela was going to say them attack Guyana and stuff like that, who British run to and Lam run to um, America because they could say, hey, America would never allow Venezuela for attack Guyana and kind of thing like that because America gonna bomb them now, gonna do this, gonna do that, and stuff like that. And don't show you that how Jake's is. They know it inside you see him there.
Yes, I'm going to Sirach 12 and verse yeah, 12 it says, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou shalt at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
And don't show you. Most I said this morning, you will take a seat, you make that life up and everything.
Yep, yep.
You will take everything from you. And what the most I say, you have to remember that what one the scripture say. Yeah. That today you see the smart taking everything for no. Every single thing. Taking a children away from you, teaching them a different doctrine and stuff like that. Like you can't teach your children how to be a Israelite, how Israelite is operate. You can't teach your children no, how, how to on and if I say that one Guyana itself, to make a law, you can't get around both. And they can't I know. And those that we use the funds and they can't be started.
It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten by a serpent?
Don't show you inside what they're suffering. But to touch out people and stuff. And what they don't be bit by what these MOTD, these microchip
Yeah.
inside of them, they're gonna bite them with. Mean that hey, give them the microchip. So what this try them. Another inside number one agenda. We want to chip every every J. And when the make a cyborg so you can control them. Just like how in the movie Matrix, the last Matrix that we watched, in the part where they were controlling everything about it, and Jake seeing it all. You're still trusting himself. You're still dependent upon himself. I shows them who so to depend upon.
Mhm.
And shalom.
Yeah. It
So,
says, it says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beast? All right. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him and in his sins, who will pity?
and don't show the scriptures about hand giant hand.
Yeah, yeah,
The wicked shall not go unpunished.
yeah.
Because Jake was joining with himself, trying to come against what the doctrine of the how about you outside the prophecy and stuff like that. Because what he was joining himself wickedness, the promoting it. Just like he started put men from saying about the vaccine that we go to look at it like that. Just he started advertise about what is in a vaccine. Just like how he start give people blackout for these are kind of thing.
Yeah.
Guy in Venezuela was in a lot of blackout and also. You don't have still in blackout. Now a lot of people have come in Venezuela.
Yeah. Um, so even the other day when they was saying that they straightened on or news is black off, all right, and the fuel prices is raising. It was getting a lot of power outage, and even telling people that look, after a certain time, certain businesses had to start closing down. They will start to cut the lights, in the city, right? It was full quarantine stuff, you know. Um, so yeah, jumping back to the Sirach, it says, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry.
Don't show it. That will show you more. They know more than that. Show you Jake.
It says, an enemy, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
I was saying, all companies were nice board. How you gonna help you? How you gonna do this for you? How you gonna be beneficial for you? That one. The way you want to everything function well. What start on? And what start bankrupt for the country? You want to Africa. What the Caribbean? They want to take Guyana, Suriname, Barbados, Trinidad, Venezuela, especially Venezuela, Cuba. How start bankrupt for them country? Can't even buy food for yourself. You can't the I can't maintain in Venezuela. Because what I was maintaining Venezuela right because don't know that that's to set up jail. Set up things. These I don't maintain you for on to about no matter nothing else. That way you want to take in Guyana. We was maintaining but what we was borrowing money. We still borrowing money for stuff. And but you start you're gonna have printing money and give you.
Mhm. All right. It says, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
So you'll be satisfied with blood. So it's looking to what end. How you could describe this? How Jesus could die. How come their Jesus don't mind? How come this people their Jesus so well? Lock them up.
Yeah. It says, if adversity come unto thee, thou shalt find him there first.
Mhm.
And though he pretended to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance.
Let me show you. You find what
Find you in trouble.
yeah, find you in trouble. It's if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there for you. Yeah? Because you always need that more than that. That stuff I don't. And what was and when no one and the mind you will outdoor this fire. Because the scripture talk about doing in his bed. Think you always think it's out to do what evil. And what when Michael you practice it. And so come inside find opportunity in our thing.
If we said, it's Isaiah 31 and verse 3. It says, no, the Egyptians are men and not the Most High. Um, yeah, let me read from 1, right? It says, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek ye Yahweh power. All right, and this is what these nations been doing: Venezuela, Cuba, um, uh, um, you know, Colombia. All right, what they've been doing is what going to Esau for help. All right, and the Egyptians is talking about America. All right, thinking that America is going to help them, but the scripture said, "Woe unto you." Then it goes on to say, all right, yeah, it says, verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not the Mosai, and the horse is flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is helped is fall down, and they shall fail together. You know? So whatever help you think that you're getting from your enemy, guess what? Yahweh Shemi Haushai is against it. Of course, again, your enemy is setting you up. This is the number one thing. All right. But the Most High also is against it too. You know? So the Most High of it, like I quote this the precept in Proverbs, though I'm joining on, they both together shall not go unpunished. Right. So the Most High judging you for believing in that man, making that man your God. And that's what Jake is doing today. All right. It says, verse 4, for thus had Yahweh spoken unto me, like as the lion. So like you're looking for the verse that say, for the Egyptians shall help in vain. Um, it is in the same 41. Uh, 40. It was 13 verse 1. 13 1. No, 13 verse 1. Yeah. Not Egyptians. Isaiah 30 and verse 7. It says, for the Egyptians shall help in vain and no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. So the Egyptians shall help in vain. There's nothing that there's no coming out the hyperinflation that Venezuela got experience because they adopt the dollar fully. Right. All right. Because today they're basically doing it and they're still experiencing hyperinflation. You know, there's no stabilizing that economy because right now the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is that war. This MOTV should become mandatory. That's the will of the Most High. Right. So a lot economies will continue to collapse. Hyperinflation will continue to grow throughout the globe. All right. That's the state that we in. That's the direction that we're heading into. You know, there's no sweet word, no lies, there's no help that the Egyptians, America could give on to you. You see? Yeah. Because Jeremiah 17 about 5, it says, thou says, how first be the man that trusts in man and make it a flesh is born and the whole heart and part of Yahweh. I'm double sure the most I say, God be the man that trusts in man. Because we should put our trust and our help into Isa, our help to become for who Yahweh Bashing out chat. That is our number one help we to just get who look after us and stuff like that, depend upon us. Now the scripture say again, hey, we should be a wise people. Anywhere we go, we supposed to keep his last as a commandment. So when these are nations say, hey, these are wise and understanding people. But today, we are not seen as well as a wise and understanding people because every nation is about trampling us. We know all different things us. And people still trust in these nations. Just like in Guyana, so you see Jake's using out Jake, cussing out Jake's for Islam. This Jake's talking out Jake's for this Islam and Jake's talking out Jake's for Islam. And double sure this scripture said, don't trust any men. Which are what they're putting in the fight against each other. Which are any of the scriptures say what the Lord will fight our battle. We waiting on the Lord. We don't have to go fight no man for peace and power and stuff like that. No. We waiting for who you how about our child.
Can I got pre Shalom Alakim.
Hey, shalom. Hey,
Okay.
shalom.
I got precept here. Sure.
Correct.
Yeah, this is Proverbs 4 and verse 14. It says, enter not in the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Right? Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Verse 16, for they sleep
And
not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they have caused some to fall. All right. And when you go into the book of Micah chapter 2, it says, let me get it quickly. Micah 2 and 1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. And that's what the elites, they set up the structure, whereas they want to bring everything under the one world order. Because when you look at Venezuela, you look at Guyana, you look at Trinidad, you look at Barbados, you look at Jamaica, you look at all these other islands and these countries around the world, they're all saying one thing: that digital ID, that digital currency, all right? And eventually it's going to lead to what? The MOTB becoming mandatory, all right? Because I think just recently, if I'm not mistaken, about a couple months ago, the Guyana government said that there was you don't need to have a passport in Guyana right now. You can just travel on that digital ID to Barbados,
yeah,
all right?
this as of July 1st.
Yeah, right?
Whenever the that country do the future ID, so they expect to just a so.
Because Bajans could travel to Guyana without a passport. So it's vice versa.
That's right. Because they have the future ID set up. Because I believe was the prime minister in Barbados.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was
President Ali.
so President Ali see them was all in the data ID. So you could travel both both countries with this ID.
Yeah, can, right? So they're all saying one thing, all right? That one world government, that one world movement, all right? Let me get next precept, Babakasha, right? Um, it's in the book of Maccabees, huh? All right. I think it's on 1 of 14. Let me get it quickly.
Actually, read the precept party, but it is the spirit that will come out again.
Yeah, can. This is our first Maccabees chapter 1 of verse 40. 41, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right. And again, in this time, we're seeing Donald Trump is actually echoing the same thing. He's actually telling all these countries to get onto the bandwagon of America. All right.
Yep, yep.
Yep. All right. To become one. All right. Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathens agree according to the commandments of the king. And we're seeing that basically all these countries, in the Caribbean, basically, they're echoing that, hey, we're with you, America. All right. Just recently, you had what's this, Trinidad, where Kamala Harris was basically saying, hey, we standing with America concerning the invasion of Venezuela. All right. You had other countries that saying that, hey, we gonna back America with whatever America got to do. All right. Because Trump was actually saying, hey, if you're not gonna support America, we gonna pull back our aids and everything from you. And watch the wickedness, right? Just recently, in Guyana, they said Guyana has one of the largest AIDS victims in Guyana. And when you check it back, a lot of the young people, they took this vaccine. All right, a lot of them took this vaccine, and we told them not to take it. And in that vaccine itself had a lot of this viruses inside of it. All right, now they're saying that they don't have a solution for it. You see, so this man basically pretends to give you an aid, but at the set time is for your destruction. He's never helping you. He has no intention of giving you no help. All right.
And
Yeah, going on more says, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profane the Sabbath, right? So basically, even to this very day, you got 2/3 of our people basically, in the spirit of Babylon, in the hope of Babylon, because you talk to them about America's destruction and they want to fight you. They telling you mad. Nobody can beat America. You know what I mean? You look at the major influence that Americans have on the world, all right, where they're pushing the vibration of that, hey, you're either with us or we're gonna destroy you. All right. That
this is
that go ahead.
yeah, like the elderly guy that came up week before the last, but he's saying that he spent some time in America and he came back, and that he's saying that he would never go back to America, but at the same time saying, "Hey, nobody can touch America. America is so great. America is so wonderful, but he would never go back to America." And it's just to show one how lost our people are. All right, because they can't see, what's coming. All right, and they still have it in their mind, even though they might experience certain things or they might see that, hey, America is a shit show. They still bewitched by America. That they can't speak against America. They can't come against her. They still believe that America is it. You know, so like, yeah, you got that.
Yeah, kind of like they were saying, when you read the book of Revelation chapter 13, it tells you that they shall worship uh worship Esau, roughly paraphrasing. All right, his system, his power, everything. Those that are not written in the book, the Lamb's Book of Life. All right, they're gonna worship America, and that's why their hopes is in Egypt. That you just brought it out in the scripture. Woe unto them, they'll go into Egypt for help. All right, because they don't see Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakodash as being that solid foundation. They don't have confidence in the Lord. They don't have the faith, and that's why the scripture says that the elect is going to find favor with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because what? The elect is going to stand on the sure word of the power. All right, because we don't have nothing there's nothing in this society that basically could to give us the, what I should say, to be complete in this society. There's nothing, no riches, no amount of anything that could compensate for what the Lord has in store for us. Yes, we're gonna go through a little bit of suffering, all right, long suffering, but at the end there's a great reward for us. And the apostle Paul said it, hey, we strive towards an uncorruptible crown. All right. We're striving towards that immortality. All right. We're running the race. All right. But and this place is gonna wax more and more worse because our people don't know how to depend on the Lord. Like how we
That's
go out
right.
and we get with daily bread, they don't know how to depend on the Lord. We know if we go out there, and the thing about it is the most Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he gives us more than we ask for. He gives us more than we ask for. All right. And once you be in the mind of being content with what the Lord gives you, hey, the yoke is gonna take you on to the next day. All right. But that's it for me.
We just dealing with that. Right? Yeah, verse, yeah, Obadiah, um, 1 verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh power concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. And today we are what, the ambassador. Yep. Today we send among stuff, telling what will happen.
Our kingdom is fine. Our kingdom is weak.
Mhm. Yep, yep, yep.
And this is the rumor going around to every country. Every country know people don't start to hear about what America will collapse. America will go through. But you see America going through little by little. But it gonna be a big collapse.
Mhm.
Boy.
It says, um, ambassadors sent among the heathen, arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. All right. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised.
And don't show someone become small amongst them. Yeah, God is it. So whenever done all these nations were it's against him, it's mad against himself. They were China, North Korea, Iran, and more other countries.
Yep, 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 yep. It says, behold, verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee.
Mm-hmm. You see Isa, it's starting thing. He's on top. Nobody can do nothing. But you see if you are with I want to fight them,
Yeah.
yeah, Iran is working out America. Working them terrible. So pride and you see even like Donald Trump say we get control. We gonna bomb you now, we gonna do this, we gonna do it, stuff like that. But never show it inside you become a weak man.
Mhm. Yeah. It says, yeah, thy pride, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that setteth his feet, Salaki, that setteth his feet, who shall bring me down to the ground?
And never show it it's that in asking who could bring down which other country can do a side of that talking about it. Because Donald Trump says we don't make America great again. No other country can do nothing. We get what the most firepower, the most power and things like that. They control our world power, but inside you're gonna fight terribly. Now you're saying who will bring it down?
You're asking a question again, one answer to.
Exactly. Because when you how you use these nations to war, your father and you say bomb upon you. Now you're going to say in 1 hour you will be what this time. America be on this time.
Um, verse 4, it says, though thou exalt thyself as, yeah, yeah, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring you down, says Yahweh power.
Yeah, the most I say we gonna bring it down and stop. We gonna bring it down. Because are you saying nobody can do nothing, you're stop it. You could go into any more country and do your life and stuff like that. Look for up a country. Go to Gaddafi, Libya. And Libya was going good. Well, you go for up the country. But all those kind of prophecy because it's going to say you will say exalting with the one, bring it down.
Yep, yep, yep. That's the
It shows his power. Just like a Pharaoh in Egypt. And Moses was raising Pharaoh up. The one show his power of greater him.
Mhm.
The scripture
Yeah, if I could just read verse so like yeah, the one read verse 6 in the over there, right? It says 7 actually it says all the men of the confederacy, all right, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And also even his friends today, his allies today, are what? Become an enemy unto what? All right? They're gonna become an enemy of America. You know, all these nations that in NATO, all right, that is allied to America, they eventually gonna turn on her. That's thus state Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. You know, they that become rich by trade, all right, and commerce with America, hey, eventually they can do harm to you. Right. You know? Verse 2. Yeah. Revelation 18 and verse 2. It says, and cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. Those sure America will go far. America will get strife. So it will become one of the habitation of what I found unclean beasts and stuff like that. Mhm. It says, and became the habitation of devils, and the hold of every false spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right. It says, verse 3, for all nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of our fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants, Salakia, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of our delicacies. So it shows that all nature will walk with you. So the care and more the frankincense, yeah, the gold, the silver, to you for Isaac, the lumber and the kind of thing to at the end of the day, these nations these nations get the wealth after Isaac, China, uh, Korea, um, these different places. They get the wealth after Isaac. Sell the island and kind of thing like that. And the major thing that they've been selling is food. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, right? Even to this day, you know, the human resource is the biggest trade right now. Okay? You know, um, yeah, verse 19, we talk about, 19, yeah, verse 19, talk about in 1 hour. Yeah. So let me jump to verse 19 in Revelation 18. It says, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of our costliness. For in 1 hour, all right, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Yeah, in 1 hour, America was desolate. So all these nations was buried by America and slaves. By all different way because Jake They all over. I just, I still, still doing it still building this wicked out space. So in one of all these shippers see America when we were like up a fire. Mhm. And they would say, well, this great city don't become as well. I do not respect to say, I do not do. I got dumb. So all that gold and anything where they're gonna be traveling with is gonna become our zone. Yeah. Good. So hopefully this next one that you find to the signature film, Aqua, Channel One, Channel One, Africa, until
Wow.
this time, just America.